We have our air pump operating right now. We're collecting some air samples that we'll deliver to the lab. These are pre-samples that will establish the level of mold spores and the type of mold spores in the air as we're just getting started on the job. After the removal is done and all the cleaning is done, we'll follow up with another set of air samples to document and verify the removal was successful and that the levels were clean. So we're timing this sample. We'll have to turn it off in a couple minutes. The visible damage on the bottom of these panel walls are evidence of the long-term water damage that we described. The paneling is not only stained and warped and rippled, but it's literally rotting and separated. The rotting doesn't happen on its own, and it's not just water damage. It requires mold or fungal action for the rotting to take place. The deeper molds that are able to do the rotting or that cause the rotting require 20% moisture content. And so this paneling in the bottom of these walls has been damp, thoroughly damp over extended periods of time for rotting like this to take place. Mold removal, once we have mold affected materials, finished materials need to be cut out and removed. Framing, if it's not rotted, if it's still strong, can be cleaned up and treated, but finished materials need to be removed. We're almost done with our 5-minute sample. We're not wearing respirators as we're doing this video because we haven't disturbed any of the mold affected areas yet. We're just walking through, getting started today, moving some appliances out of our way. The next step will be set up containment, set up the air scrubber, establish a negative air pressure before we start disturbing or cutting into any of the mold affected materials. Once we start doing that, large quantities of spores will be released into the air for our protection as well as to protect the structure and other occupants of the home. The containment and negative air pressure will be necessary, but as we work and enter the work area, once we begin into the mold removal, we'll be donning proper personal protective gear, including HEPA filtered respirators. The sound that you still hear in the background is we're still collecting another air sample, but we're just going to demonstrate collecting of a tape sample on the bottom of this wall as well. Mike is suited up, he has the gloves and respirator on. Lifting a tape sample is disturbing the surface very, very little, but we've still had him put the gloves and respirator on. Just takes a piece of tape, puts it on the wall, lifts it off, and the stickiness of the tape lifts the spores along with it, and that's what we delivered to the lab to analyze the spores that it lifted off of that surface area.